Hello everyone, Daria here, and welcome to episode number 60 of the Slow Russian Language Podcast. September 27 is an International Tourism Day, so I've decided to record an episode about tourism in Russia. As usual, first comes the text in slow Russian, so you just listen to it, and after that we translate it sentence by sentence and talk about some interesting vocabulary. Here we go. Туризм в России. Ежегодно в Россию приезжают миллионы туристов со всего света. Самые любимые места для иностранцев, конечно, две роскошные столицы – Москва и Санкт-Петербург. Кроме того, туристы часто посещают города Золотого Кольца – Владимир, Суздаль, Александров, Сергиев Посад и другие. Золотое кольцо – это отличная возможность познакомиться со спокойной и неторопливой жизнью русской провинции. А если вы мечтаете увидеть прекрасную русскую природу, поезжайте в Сибирь или Карелию. That was it for the text. Today it's a short one. And let's try to translate it. The title was Tourism in Russia. Туризм в России. The first sentence. Every year, millions of tourists from all over the world come to Russia. Ежегодно в Россию приезжают миллионы туристов со всего света. First, pay attention to the adverb ежегодно, every year. You can say каждый год, every year, literally, but also we have this adverb, ежегодно. So you hear that word год, that root is still there, and it means every year, ежегодно. For example, I celebrate my birthday every year. Я отмечаю день рождения ежегодно. Or maybe this conference takes place in Moscow every year. Эта конференция проходит в Москве ежегодно. So, ежегодно means каждый год, every year. And millions of tourists come to Russia every year. Interesting expression from all over the world. Со всего света. You probably know the word свет as a light. Light, свет. For example, darkness and light. Темнота и свет. But this expression, со всего света, or maybe на всем свете, means all over the world. For example, there are goods from all over the world in this market. На этом рынке товары со всего света. Or maybe I have students from all over the world in my class. У меня в классе студенты со всего света. All over the world. Okay, the next sentence. The most favorite places for foreigners are two grand capitals, Moscow and St. Petersburg. Самые любимые места для иностранцев – две роскошные столицы Москва и Санкт-Петербург. Самый любимый means the most favorite. Interesting adjective here is роскошный. Роскошные столицы. I've translated it as grand capitals. But actually the word роскошный can mean luxury. For example, some apartment. Роскошная квартира. Also, you can say it about a woman. Interesting expression. Роскошная женщина. It's that kind of a woman that makes you turn your head to look at her when she passes by. And it doesn't even matter if you're a man or you're a woman, but this woman is so gorgeous that you just want to look at her one more time before she leaves. So we would say роскошная женщина, gorgeous woman. Or maybe even hair. Роскошные волосы, meaning really beautiful hair. And here I used this word for our capitals. First, why we call Moscow and St. Petersburg, both of them, capitals. Moscow is an actual capital, where the government and all the institutions are. And St. Petersburg is a former capital. It was a capital for more than 200 years. And today we call it the capital of culture. Культурная столица. And we have lots and lots of stereotypes about Moscow and about St. Petersburg, and especially about people from Moscow and St. Petersburg. So it's a constant rivalry there. I guess it's just like New York with angry people always hurrying up to work, make money. And about LA, where everyone is shining and smiling and enjoying life. You know those stereotypes. Same in Moscow, angry Moscow people and super cultural and polite people from St. Petersburg. You can meet lots of jokes about how homeless people recite poems and even graffiti on the walls are all of Pushkin and Lermontov. So everyone is super well educated and cultural there, which is not true, of course. Okay, we're moving on to the next sentence. I'm sorry for my voice. I guess I'm losing it again because it's fall and pretty cold in Russia. So I'm sorry if it's a little harsh to hear. Okay. Also, tourists often visit towns of the Golden Ring. Кроме того, туристы часто посещают города Золотого Кольца. Кроме того means besides that, so besides Moscow and St. Petersburg, and I guess here it's better to translate it as also. So they visit Moscow, but also they visit the cities of the Golden Ring. Города Золотого Кольца. Золотое Кольцо, the Golden Ring, is a group of towns, mostly ancient towns, around Moscow. If you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen most of those cities, because I've visited them all this summer on weekends. And there you can see some amazing ancient Russian architecture. I guess some people might think that I'm super religious or something, because almost every time I upload pictures of churches and all that religious stuff, but actually I'm not at all. I just love that architecture. So if you come to Moscow, you definitely must find an hour or two to go to one of those old towns. Золотое Кольцо, Golden Ring. And what towns are there? It's Vladimir, Суздаль, Александров, Сергиев Посад и другие, and others. There are many cities there. So they all are called the Golden Ring towns. Золотое Кольцо. The next sentence. The Golden Ring is a great opportunity to get acquainted with life of the unhurried and calm Russian province. Золотое Кольцо – это отличная возможность познакомиться со спокойной и неторопливой жизнью русской провинции. First, great opportunity. Отличная возможность. Opportunity is возможность. For example, I have an opportunity to study. У меня есть возможность учиться. Also, we use this word a lot when we talk about money. For example, why don't you go abroad this year? Well, I'm short on money, something like that. In Russian, you would say, у меня нет возможности. And everyone understands that you just have no money to do that. Нет возможности. So here, visiting the Golden Ring is a great opportunity to get acquainted with the life of the unhurried and calm Russian province. Познакомиться, to get acquainted. Acquainted, I guess I'm just mispronouncing this word constantly. Acquainted. Well, meaning to know better. Спокойная и неторопливая жизнь русской провинции. Unhurried and calm life of Russian province. Неторопливый comes from the verb не торопиться, not to hurry. So, of course, it means unhurried and calm. Неторопливая жизнь. And it's absolutely true. If you compare a Russian province and Moscow, for example, it's like two different countries. And actually, we have this phrase that Moscow is not Russia, and it is 100% true. I guess foreigners who come to Moscow and think that they've seen Russia are so mistaken because Moscow has nothing to do with the rest of our country. Moscow is absolutely beautiful, it's grand, it's rich. There are thousands of super expensive cars and houses and all that stuff, and roads are perfect. Everything is perfect in Moscow, especially for foreigners, because they will never see the bad part of it. But what I've been seeing this whole summer going to those small towns is 1 hour drive from Moscow and you come to hell. Terrible roads, old and almost ruined houses, drunk people lying by the road, and just terrible poverty there. But I guess tourists will never see that stuff anyway because they go directly to the sightseeing part. And everything that I mention is usually like 10 minutes walking from the center, so I guess they don't see it anyway. But yeah, that is what the Russian province is. And that's why so many people, millions of people, dream to move to Moscow, or at least St. Petersburg. Okay, the next sentence. And if you dream to see wonderful Russian nature, go to Siberia or Karelia. А если вы мечтаете увидеть прекрасную русскую природу, поезжайте в Сибирь или Карелию. So wonderful Russian nature, прекрасная русская природа, which is true. Russian nature is stunningly beautiful. Go to Siberia or Karelia. Поезжайте в Сибирь или Карелию. This verb, ехать, ездить, is super tricky when it comes to imperative mood. Because it's very difficult to understand what to say when you want to ask someone to go. You can say ехай, едь, езжай. It's all not correct. So you should say поезжайте в Сибирь. Go to Siberia. I know it's absolutely ridiculous, but yeah, that's how the Russian language works. Ехать all of a sudden turns to поезжайте. And you could never guess that. And actually, it's the end of the text. So now let me read it one more time, a little bit faster, and try to understand it. Here we go. Туризм в России. Ежегодно в Россию приезжают миллионы туристов со всего света. Самые любимые места для иностранцев, конечно, две роскошные столицы – Москва и Санкт-Петербург. Кроме того, туристы часто посещают города Золотого Кольца – Владимир, Суздаль, Александров, Сергиев Посад и другие. Золотое кольцо – это отличная возможность познакомиться со спокойной и неторопливой жизнью русской провинции. А если вы мечтаете увидеть прекрасную русскую природу, поезжайте в Сибирь или Карелию. That was it for the text. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you learned something new, some new vocabulary, or maybe some facts about Russia that you didn't know before. And don't forget that if you enjoy my podcast, if you like this format, Russian first, then translation, then speaking about vocabulary, if you like this, you can join my membership program at realrussianclub.com/membership. And every week you will receive an extra slow Russian episode. Also, you'll get access to my small library where all the books are downloadable. I've divided them to Russian language textbooks, Russian readers, and Russian authentic books. It will cost $15 per month, and again, you can go to realrussianclub.com/membership. So if you were looking for an opportunity to support this project, this is the great way to do it. I'll be happy to see you there. And what else? If you have any topic suggestions or anything you want to say to me, you can find me at daria@realrussianclub.com. And I guess that's it for today before I lose my voice completely. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next episode of the Slow Russian Language Podcast. Bye-bye!